Well met by moonlight, dear ones. I'm Curiosity, and this is my jamboree, a firelit gathering for explorers of the uncanny, the frightening, and the hard to explain. Tonight we spin tales of terrifying sleepovers, missed encounters, and an uncanny midnight dance routine. So settle in by the crackling fire, lean in close. Tell yourself that singing you hear in the distance is just an echo. And let's begin. Our first story is from r/Let's Not Meet, posted by Missa Pretty. When I was 16 and in high school, I had a friend, Lisa, and a second friend, Zoe. Lisa had a lot of money, and her huge house was located right next to our high school. So every time we had a break or anything, the three of us would go there. And we also would have a lot of sleepovers at her house. It was this huge, rich people house, so it was awesome to stay there. So one day we decided to stay the night there, the three of us plus Lisa's little sister Anna. Their mother was gone for the night. We decided to put on some PJs and watch scary movies for hours. Anna went to bed before us three, and we just stayed in the living room watching TV. At one point the alarm goes on. It happens sometimes. So Lisa just goes, turn it off, and that was it. But then, like 10 minutes later, the alarm goes on again, and it scared us, because it's not supposed to. Technically, the alarm was made to ring only when humans come by, because the house was located in the middle of the forest. So we all knew that sometimes animals would come by the house. It had happened before. So when the alarm was installed, it was calibrated for humans only, and it was the second time it rang. We started to get a little bit scared, so we went upstairs, opened the windows to look at the garden all round the house, and nothing. We even went on the balcony in the middle of the night. Nothing. I was alone on the balcony at some point, and the alarm went on again, and the automatic lights around the swimming pool turned on. That meant something was around the pool, and I was just above it. I got so scared I got on my knees, and stayed there until my friend deactivated the alarm and the lights, and I ran inside the house. At this point we were really, really scared, and started thinking about what it could be. If it was a human, all our lights were on, so they knew where we were. We turned all the lights off, and all four of us went hiding downstairs in the kitchen, without our phones. I don't even know why not even one of us thought about taking at least one phone. So we were there, lights off, scared in a huge house, with windows everywhere we could look. The alarm went berserk again. Anna screamed. Lisa took her with her, reassuring her while walking to shut the alarm off, like turn it off once and for all. So I was in the kitchen with Zoe only, and we were just looking all around us. The alarm was upstairs, so the two girls were far from us. At some point we heard footsteps right beside us, like right on the other side of the wall in the garden, like that person knew where they were going. So we just froze, waiting in the dark, and we jumped when someone walked by the window, right in front of us. He had a light, but it was another light that allowed us to see his silhouette. So there were at least two, running around the house for about at least 20 to 30 minutes. This door was, like I said, a windowed door, but there were Venetian blinds on it. We were still not moving, and the girls upstairs were so scared that they stayed there. At least that's what they told us. Suddenly one voice, then a second voice. I was unable to understand anything, but I heard it, and Zoe and I were blinded by a sudden light right in our faces. We were literally not able to move, scream, talk, nothing. We were just frozen in fear. The light stayed there. Someone was seeing us through the blinds. Someone was watching us being scared, and was just staying there. Suddenly we heard a hard sound on the front door, which was closed. Zoe didn't move at all, and I don't know what came over me. It just woke me up, and I crawled to the door in front of me, closed the blinds, and just held the door in place in case the guy on the other side tried to force it. Honestly, I'm small and thin. My little body was useless here, but I did it anyway. The one at the front door was still trying to enter. Zoe still wasn't moving. The two girls upstairs were doing I don't know what, and the one just a glass window away from me started hitting it, trying to force it. It was closed, but I just grabbed the handle and hung in there for a while. He was just hitting the door, trying to open it. All this lasted hours in my head, but I believe it was only a few seconds. At one point the hits at the front door stopped, and a few seconds later the other one in front of me stopped as well. Then the lights just moved fast, everywhere. The alarm did nothing, so it was disabled as we wanted, and there was nothing. Zoe and I just slept in the kitchen, and the two sisters upstairs. Nothing happened at all. It was over. The next day, Lisa and Anna's mum came back home. We told her everything, got a bit yelled at because we didn't call the cops. I took it wrong at the time, but I understand now why she got upset. She called the cops, who went to see the house and just discovered footsteps all around the house, some muddy footprints and marks on the front door. That was it. They told us it must have been some guys who were just doing some reconnaissance. You know, when they just walk around the houses to see how to rob it. It was common in this area. There were a lot of really big and beautiful houses filled with expensive things. The only thing I'll never be able to explain is why they started being so aggressive. Originally they were just walking around the house, but I think that if they were trying to see something or just look things up, they would have left when they realized we were inside. Or at least left when that guy saw us standing in the kitchen. Well, they didn't. The moment they saw us in the kitchen, they started being aggressive and trying to force the doors to enter the house where we were. I don't know if they really wanted to rob the house. I will never, and honestly I don't want to know. I didn't spend any more nights at the house. I got so scared they would come back, I couldn't sleep there. Lisa got a bit mad, like she didn't understand, but from what she told Zoe and me, she didn't see them. She just stayed upstairs with her sister. I understand that, but I wasn't able to stand the fact that she couldn't understand how scared I was as well. You say you wouldn't be able to hold on to the door for long, OP, but it sounds to me like you held it just long enough to dissuade the intruders from persisting. Who knows? You might be the one who saved the day. Our next story is from r/creepy encounters, shared by CastofThrowaway. I'm not a big fan of clubbing. In fact, I'd never really been until the night of this story, and for obvious reasons you'll see soon, I've never been since. So when I was 24, about 4 years ago now, I was recently single, and because I'd broken up with my boyfriend for cheating, I didn't exactly need much time to get over him. I was pretty much ready to get back out there. I don't really know how my friends talked me into going clubbing. I've never been good at parties, and I'm not a big drinker, and I wasn't really looking for a one-night stand. I think I joked with one of my more outgoing girlfriends about getting some as revenge on my ex, but I would have definitely been joking. Fast forward to one Friday night. My friend knew a club she thought I wouldn't instantly hate, and they had some live music. That's the only way I agreed to go. No throbbing music too loud to hear myself think. I have a theory that those sorts of clubs are only enjoyable if you're drunk, high, or both, and I was rarely drunk, and haven't been high since I was 19 and had a joint that made me throw up, my second and last ever. So I'm at the bar actually enjoying the music, and I've got my drink, and a guy comes and sits next to me. Now I may not be very worldly when it comes to clubs, but I know a few things. Don't let anyone buy you a drink unless you see the bartender pour it. Don't leave your drink unless friends you absolutely trust are staying with it, and even then sometimes don't. Fortunately, I already had a drink, and I was nursing it. The guy was being pretty obvious with his flirtation technique, and honestly, after the last few months of a relationship where my boyfriend gave me no attention at all, it was nice for someone just to be bothering. We didn't really have a deep conversation at first, but he seemed nice enough. He was quite good looking. He had nice eyes and a great smile. His nose was visibly bent to the left, which I thought was adorable, and he had this weird old-fashioned thin moustache. You know, the sort that Walt Disney had? Weird example, I know. I couldn't think of anyone else just now. He sort of gave me the impression he wasn't big into clubbing either, and aside from a bit of awkward and obvious flirting, which I didn't mind that much, he seemed shy. Anyway, while we were talking I finished my drink. A vodka and coke I'd been sitting with for so long the ice had melted and made it god-awful, and asked him to hold my seat so I could go powder my nose. I wanted to keep talking to the guy, even if I had no intention of going home with him. Maybe I'd trade numbers with him, and we could go on a date or something more civilized. The night was young. He asked if I wanted another drink, and I didn't want to be rude, so I said, "Yeah, when I get back." He didn't seem to really hear me, and ordered me another vodka and coke as I walked away. I battled my way to the bathrooms and glanced over. I don't know why, I'm not one of those long glance back type girls. Maybe my guardian angel had tapped me on the shoulder. I'm kidding, but also maybe not. As I looked back, he was there, and he had his hand over my drink. He was looking around himself, like he was making sure nobody could see. I didn't see him put anything in my drink, but still, you have to remember, I'm new to clubbing and everything about it frightens me. I'd already broken my cardinal rule, don't separate from my friends for any longer than it takes to get a drink or go to the bathroom. And honestly, if I hadn't seen him with his hand over my drink like that, I don't know if I'd have had the good judgment not to drink it when I got back. Remember that, girls. Even if you think you're the most sensible, alert to the point of paranoid person in the club, you can still be as stupid as I might have been. While I was in the bathroom, I panicked. Was I about to go back to someone who spiked my drink? I wasn't going to drink it, even on the off chance, but that would look suspicious, and I know about guys like that. They try the subtle thing, and then get aggressive when subtlety doesn't work. So I figure I'd just slip out and text my friends that I had a headache and went home, and to warn them about the guy with the crooked nose and Disney mustache. Looking back, maybe I should have told someone on the door or on the bar about him, but I was in a heavy spiral of self-preservation. The queue for the bathrooms was ridiculous. By the time I'd come out, the guy had moved from the bar to get a small table near the back, right in line of sight of the bathrooms. So I came out with my escape plan in my head, and he was now in my way, waving cheerfully at me from the table with my vodka and coke and his whatever it was. I went over to him and took my drink, and put it down on the table, deliberately spilling it. Desperate move, right? I couldn't think of anything else. I was considering taking a sip to show I wasn't suspicious, but if he'd put something in there, who knows how strong it was. Bear in mind, when you picture me knocking this drink over, it was in one of those tall highball glasses. Not the easiest thing to knock over by accident, but the table was wet, so it was believable. I laughed it off, but he didn't find it funny. I don't know, but that seemed to confirm it to me, like I'd really thrown off his plans or something. I risked flirting and asked him to get me another while I saved the seat. Apparently my show of drunken lust and that I trusted him to get a drink, offering him a free chance to spike me again, worked. And while he was at the crowded bar, I slipped out of the club, texting my friends from the back of the cab home. I didn't think about it too much. My friends weren't that disappointed or surprised that I slipped out early. One of them joked that it was a miracle I agreed to come at all. I didn't tell all of them about part 2 of my encounter with the guy, but I did tell my best friend, the one who'd urged me to go clubbing in the first place. She agreed I was right to get away, and she played it a bit cool, but there were parts of my story where I could see her eyes go wide with shock. It hadn't sunk in until her reaction that I might have had a really narrow escape. I wish I could make this story more interesting by saying, then I saw the guy on the news and the police had arrested him, but nothing like that. Hopefully striking out with me discouraged him. Hopefully I was wrong about him spiking my drink in the first place, and my caution got the better of me. Maybe I wasn't as ready to get back out there as I thought at the time. Looking back, it was close to a year before I went on another date. So yeah, here's to close calls, missed connections, and me never going clubbing again. Well, throwaway, whether or not he was covering your drink with his hand for a more innocent reason, your instincts were right. I think in situations like this, it's much better to be safe than sorry. Our last story was shared by March 3004. I recently moved out into an apartment building, all the way up on the top floor. My balcony is at the back of the building. The view is mostly trees, but there's some houses and a street directly behind the apartment building, so I can see that too. I usually sit out on my balcony at night, relaxing and listening to music. At night, the view is just darkness aside from the house porch lights, and the road lit up by streetlight. Most of the road view is covered by trees, but I can see a good amount of it. There's also no light from my balcony, so at night I just sit in the dark, aside from the light coming from my phone. So anyway, I was sitting out there at around 10 p.m. or so, like I usually do, and I noticed movement from the road. When I looked down, I saw someone running down the road, like really fast. From my distance, it looked like this person was running faster than any human should. I was just watching, when this person just stopped under a street lamp. Under the light, I could tell this person was a man. I also realized this person was now looking up at me. I got nervous, but I didn't move because I thought I could just be overthinking, and maybe this guy wasn't actually looking at me. How could he? My phone wasn't on, so I was pretty much sitting in complete darkness. Could he really see me from all the way down there? I just kept sitting there, hoping the guy would leave, but then I saw him waving at me. Now I knew he was looking at me, I was too uncomfortable to do anything. I couldn't even go back inside. I just sat there getting increasingly nervous. My thoughts started running wild. I thought this guy might find my apartment and try to break in. I also thought he would somehow just sprint forward and climb up the building to get to me or something. But as I kept staring at this guy waving at me, a sudden feeling of dread came over me. That was when I started grabbing my things to go back inside. But then I saw that he'd stopped waving. He reached both his arms out to the side and started swaying his body side to side, bending his knees as he moved and wiggling his arms around just like a weird dance move. At this point I was incredibly unsettled. I just wanted to get back inside, but I was also slightly intrigued in a way, and I guess I wanted to see what he might do next. Soon the feeling of dread and unease took over, and I continued closing up all my stuff, and I went inside. There was a window in the room next to the balcony where you could see down to the same area, so I peeked outside trying to stay hidden behind the wall. I saw this guy still moving around, side to side, but he soon stopped, and I saw him just start booking it down the road again. I made sure my front door was locked, and I went back to my room, locking the bedroom door as well. My bedroom window looks out to the same direction, so I made sure that guy was gone and closed my curtains. I didn't really sleep that night. I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling I had. This happened a couple of nights ago, and I haven't seen this guy since then. I've still been sitting out on the balcony, but I've been getting really paranoid when I'm out there at night, so I don't stay out for as long as I did. I don't really know what to make of this whole thing. I don't know who that guy was, or maybe what he was. I get really uncomfortable and paranoid when I think about that night, like I'm back in that moment, feeling those exact feelings again. And also, since then, I get occasional waves of dread, like at times throughout the day. I get the feeling that I'm being watched. I hope this feeling goes away soon, and I'm really hoping I don't see that guy ever again. The sun is rising. Dew glistens on the cobwebs spun among the grass. The jamboree is at an end once more. My thanks to everyone who sent in stories or gave me permission to narrate theirs. Remember, I upload new stories on Mondays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss out. If you have any thoughts about the stories I've narrated, why not leave them in the comments below? And don't forget, if you enjoyed your time by the fireside, to hold the like button just right and skip it along the water. If you'd like a story of yours narrated, I have a submission form linked in the description, and I would love to learn more of your curious experiences and unexplained happenings. I will see you soon, dear ones, and until then, may your nights be dark and your dreams just a little curious.